Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's about 1:20, and I welcome you to this final edition for 2011, this Christmas edition, if you will, as well as the end of the year edition of the monthly opinions on the Sonic the Hedgehog comic book and franchise. I'll tell you, folks, what a year it has been. What a year. I mean, if somebody would have told you at the beginning of the year, that the character known as Princess Sally would end up being roboticized in October, no one would have believed you. I mean, they probably would have believed you, let's say her life was hanging in the balance, or if she was going to die, but nobody would have believed you if you would have said she's going to be roboticized. I'll tell you, folks, after that occurred, Archie Comics, Ian Flynn, Paul Kaminsky, Tracy Yardlin, they've been getting a mixed bag of reactions from people. But I'll tell you this, speaking of Tracy Yardlin, lately he's been doing some stories in Sonic Universe. Now, a lot of people have actually complimented Tracy as being a better writer than Ian. Now, from what I saw recently in Sonic Universe 35, now folks, first of all, let me say I don't have the issue, but I read it on YouTube. Yeah, I think, I don't know who posted it, but somebody on YouTube posted Sonic Universe 35. And apparently the way Nicole's being portrayed, whether she did leave a part of herself in Sally or not, the way she's being portrayed, she's taking she's basically taking a lot of the brunt on herself. She's basically blaming herself. She's basically downward, if you will, about what has happened. She's basically upset about what has occurred to her best friend. I mean, she's such right now in a depressive state that, yeah, she'll do what she's asked, but she doesn't have the energy anymore. It's like she's down. And you know what that tells me, folks? That tells me she's going to play an important role in Sally getting back her free will, if not getting back to normal. Now, I know the person at TSSZ, who was at the New York Comic Con a few months ago, said that that Sally being mechanized, roboticized, if you will, is how it would be going forward. That it was official, and that's how it would be going forward. I've said this many times throughout the year when this was announced. Going forward doesn't mean forever. And, of course, going forward doesn't mean temporary. It's just for the time being. You see, it's kind of like, and I mentioned this in my audio review of Endgame, it's kind of like what Zaran Izarak said, and it's kind of basically plays off exactly what Paul Kaminsky says. Sally has what is known as the Jean Grey syndrome. So basically, this situation with her right now being roboticized is basically Ian Flynn and Archie Comics, Paul Kaminsky, Tracy Yardlin, whoever else is involved. This is their answer to the Phoenix/Dark Phoenix saga in X-Men. That's basically what it is. Sally right now in her situation is portrayed as a Dark Phoenix. So basically, that's where they're going with this. Now, you might ask yourself, well, what about Sonic's character? How is he being portrayed? Well, I'll tell you this. From anybody that's read Sonic Universe 35, from anybody that's probably seen what's going to be happening, Sonic's going to be in a rage. I mean, he'll try to be himself, but he'll be in a rage. I mean, this is basically what we're going to see, apparently, from some of the hints that are thrown our direction, whether we like them or not. It sounds like Sonic, when the time comes, is going to beat the living you-know-what out of a certain doctor in an issue. That's what it's coming to. Now, I will admit one thing, though. Even though I did not open up the issues just yet, because like I said, I'm waiting for this whole thing to die down. I'm waiting for this whole thing to settle down. I'm waiting for some resolution, some answers. But quite frankly, folks, one of the things that did surprise me, I heard that Bunny got crystallized. But apparently the crystallization de-roboticized her just temporarily, according to what Antoine says in 35, Sonic Universe 35. It sounds like she's been de-roboticized, but temporarily. And this did catch a lot of people off guard. But maybe it just shows that Tracy and Ian are a lot more smarter than they look. But then again, it is Tracy writing this story, universe-wise, so I don't know. But again, it looks like it's exactly going by what Paul Kaminsky says. It sounds like it's going to a downward spiral. And you know what that tells me, folks? Anytime you're going into a downward spiral, that usually means the downer the spiral, the bigger the victory. So in other words, according to what the hints being thrown our way, the more downward everybody spirals out of control, the bigger the victory is going to be in the end. Now, I've thrown out a lot of hints, basically, either through audio or actual on-camera video. Now, one of the things I've always thought would be, always feel will be a crazy situation, but knowing how Ian Flynn sometimes works, I couldn't put it past him, is if we find out this entire thing is nothing more than a dream. Yeah, go figure. I know what you're thinking. That's impossible. Whole thing being a dream, impossible. Well, folks, I don't think it is. Let me explain why I don't think it is, folks. Let me explain. I feel, in my honest, humble opinion, I feel that with everything going the way it is, it's either a dream that Sonic's having because he's in a coma, maybe, or something's going on. I want to take you back in time, folks. Take you back in time to an issue long ago. I think it was issue 15, I believe, or 16. Now, apparently, at the beginning of this issue, everybody was celebrating because they beat Robotnik. They were happy. We suddenly got a wedding between Sonic and Sally. Well, supposedly we were going to get one. But then things started to spiral a little out of control. Like things just started to happen that didn't make sense. And then, only then, did we find out that Sonic and his friends were trapped in some kind of dream sequence. So what does that tell you, folks? Does that tell you that Ian Flynn could possibly do the same thing but with a different twist? Yeah, he could. He could do that. I'm not saying that he wouldn't. And I'm not saying he will. It's just that I just feel a lot of this happening right now is just too coincidental. And then you have Nagas fighting these three different entities within him. He's trying to be in control, but they want to take control. Now, what does that tell you there? It tells you either this is a dream or something's just not adding up. I mean, and if this is a dream, which I'm not saying it is, folks, because many people have said it's not, then I really wouldn't be surprised. One of the things over this past year that a lot of people have said Ian has done that really pissed them off, but kind of gave a little bit of a twist in everything, was in Sonic Universe when Ian wrote the Silver Saga for Sonic Universe. The story arc in that 4-part Silver story was the fact that the story was an adaptation, if you will, a loose adaptation of his Other M comic. That's right. A loose adaptation of his Other M comic. And this actually upset some fans as well. I mean, some fans were actually glad to see it, and there were some fans that were upset about it. And the fans that were upset about it were upset because Ian had come out on record, if you will, had gone on record, if you will, and stated that he would never bring in anything like that. He wouldn't adapt Other M and no other means anyway. He wouldn't do it. But yet, here he was adapting Other M into a Sonic-related book. So this is why, even though some fans liked it, and some fans enjoyed it, and some fans didn't, this is why some fans don't know what to believe from him anymore. You know, some fans can come out and say, well, you know, Ian's saying that Sally's like this now, and that's what it's going to be. How can they believe him? You know what I'm saying? I mean, Ian himself, according to many fans, according to many sources, has gone on record, if you will, and said that Sally is among one of the strongest female characters in the book. But then, according to some other sources, he turns his words around and says that the book could survive without her. Okay. According to some fans, how can that be? You're saying one thing and now you're saying another. Now, Ian apparently has gone on record and said, you know, that has gone on record and I guess has admitted that he did say those things, but that he can't really play favoritism or something. I'm not sure. Now, according to some people, he on his website and his message boards, he seems to be more in favor of Sonic and Amy now. Or is he? You see, basically I think, and I'm not trying to be mean here, I'm not trying to be mean, I'm not trying to say anything bad about the guy. I respect him. I do. But the thing is, I think what Ian's trying to do is what any head comic book writer is trying to do. He's trying to throw people off. He's trying to throw people off by making them think one thing and then think another. He's trying to throw them off by saying one thing and then saying another. By showing them one thing and then showing them another. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to throw people off so they don't guess what he's up to. You see, there have been fans like myself that have been on his site, and whether they're still active on his site or his message board or not, have actually come out and predicted almost exactly what's going to happen next. And I think that's infuriated him. As a matter of fact, when this whole situation with Genesis and now Sally and everything occurred, according to some sources, Ian Flynn was kind of letting it get to him. It was upsetting him that the fans were outraged and were not happy about the results. And some fans were like, well, you build up Genesis and that's all we get? Doesn't make sense. And stuff like that. So apparently that's what occurred so far. Now, again, as far as from what I have seen on YouTube at Sonic Universe 35, I definitely see Nicole playing a huge part. But like I said, you take a look at my video response to Colby Parta's theories, and I have those 3 theories locked down, basically. The 3 theories of getting her free will back: 1 is the Sword of Light, a Chaos Emerald, and maybe Nicole somehow helping her mentally regain her free will. The otherwise, with Flesh and Blood, you're looking at maybe supersonic style, back in time, or I can't think of the other one that I said. I have to